Let me go ahead and hit record. Okay, so today we are talking about pockets of time and how to find the time to work coaching into your busy life. Because if you are anything like me, you are super crazy busy, and I know most of us coaches are not full time coaches. So we have other jobs, we have families, we all have families, we all have other things going on outside of coaching. So it's all about finding the time to make this work for you. So I'm going to share with you guys how I make coaching work for me, how I've made it work for me from the very beginning, and that is with pockets of time and really um, focusing and using, working when you are working, having, all of your intentions focused on what it is that you're doing. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys and I'm going to go through these slides. I don't think it will take the whole time. So I want you guys to ask questions though, because if I miss something, I really want to be able to answer those questions that you have, or I can talk through in more detail a certain area if you want me to touch on that a little bit more. So use the chat as I'm talking so you don't forget your questions. Just pop that open and just put any questions you have or thoughts or anything you guys have, put them right on into the chat so that we can all benefit from hearing those. Okay, let me share my screen. Oops. Okay, can you guys see the screen? Okay, awesome. So working in pockets of time. So I want to go through what my schedule looks like on a daily basis. And it's not just necessarily what I'm doing, my schedule looks like today. This is kind of taking you through what my schedule has looked like over time. So I've always been a morning workout person since I've been a coach. That is like the time that I get my workouts in. So you need to find the time of day that you are going to be getting your workouts in. And you need to make sure that that is scheduled in your notebook. You know exactly when you're doing that workout. And I'll talk about why that's important in a little bit. I am a full-time teacher for those of you guys that don't know me. So I am full-time during the school year as a teacher. I also coach the dance team, which is almost the entire school year. We just ended our season at the beginning of January, and we're already having tryouts in March. So it is like a full year-round sport that I am busy coaching after school and on weekends. I last year was taking graduate classes for an endorsement that I was working towards, and I know there are lots of other coaches on this call and watching the recording that are also taking graduate classes or college classes, so this can still work in your busy schedule. We all have our nightly family time, dinner time, cooking dinner, being with our families, right? We gotta, make time for that too. I recently, I just recently had a baby, and before that, when we found out we were pregnant, we had almost that full 9 months of knowing that we were pregnant, or 8 months of knowing that we were pregnant, that we did home renovations on our entire house, our hardwood floors, painted every single room in the house, tore things down, put things up. So I had a lot going on this past year. And then if any of you guys have been following my journey, I have spent um, I've been home for a while now, but all last year I spent every single weekend downtown Chicago with my dad in the hospital. So my mom would stay there during the week. And then Fridays I would drive downtown. She would take the car and she would drive home for the weekend. That would give her some time off. And I spent from Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday I would leave to come back home. And I still made coaching work. And believe it or not, that time that I was downtown, I got so much coaching work done. And that was actually like the biggest time for my business, was when I was like the crazy busiest in my schedule. But my business was booming during that time. And it was because I was using my time wisely and working with intention. So I'll share how I did all of that with like working in my pockets of time. So to start, my mornings, every single morning, now that I have my baby, I wake up, I feed her, and then I have to pump every morning. But while I'm doing that, I'm drinking my Energize. So for those of you guys that are morning workout people or even afternoon or night workout people, you're drinking your Energize before your workout. That's like, 15, at least 5 minutes to maybe 20 minutes that you're drinking your Energize for. And that is all time that you can be posting in your stories, talking while you're drinking it, checking into your boot camps. And I send good morning messages to my boot campers, not every single day, but probably every other day. I just send them a quick message, checking in with them for the day and letting them know that I'm here if they have any questions or need extra support throughout the day. So that's just within that first 10 minutes of my day. I'm doing those couple of things, right? So I'm not just sitting there drinking my Energize, just, doing whatever or scrolling through Instagram mindlessly. I'm doing things with intention. Um, After my workout, so I work out, I focus on that. And then after my workout, I post clips of my workout to my stories. And that takes like, you guys, 2 to 5 minutes maybe to just quickly put those up, throw them in your stories. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. You don't need to edit these crazy long videos in your stories. It's super quick. Then I get in the shower, I get ready, and while I'm in the shower is when I am listening to my PD. I have a very short ride to work every day, so listening to PD in the car is not really the best time for me. But if you have a longer commute to work, um, listening to your personal development in the car is a really great option as well. So that's when I'm getting all my personal development done, is when I'm like in the shower. I just put it on my phone, put it on the maximum volume, and I continue listening while I'm getting ready in the morning. Excuse me, guys. um, Sometimes I get to work early, and if I do get to work early, I just sit in my car in the morning before I go into work, and I will just do a couple things really quick, like add a couple followers, make connections. So if I just want to sit and scroll Instagram, instead of just scrolling, use that time to build connections. So what I mean by that is like people's things that you're seeing, comment on some of those things that you guys are seeing that are coming up in your feed. If you really like a post, go to that person's Instagram and like a couple more of their things, just to show that you're actively on Instagram and you are connecting and talking and starting conversations with other people. That's super quick. At lunch, I use my lunch time to do sorry guys, to do more mindless activities. So not necessarily inviting and follow-ups, because I do like to record people that do want information. So I like to have my computer for that stuff. So stuff that takes more thought and you need to be really focused, I save that stuff for later in the day. But during lunch, I do more mindless activities. So building connections again, scrolling through a little bit, liking people's things, commenting on people's things, adding followers, and checking into your boot camp. So that could be a good time to take a picture of your lunch and post it in your boot camp, or to comment on whoever has posted for the day so far, or send messages to any of your boot campers if you haven't checked in with them yet for the day. So using your lunchtime is really wise. I have to pump during lunch, so I'm in my room anyways, so I'm not with the other teachers. I get that time to myself, and you really have to think of down the line, what do you want this to be? Do you want to grow this big enough? Is it worth not sitting with all the other teachers for you to work for that 30 minutes? It's only 30, for me, it's only a 30-minute lunch. There's not even really enough time, and most of the time, at least for teachers, that time is to vent and to complain, and it's all negative energy that I don't even want to be around anyways. So sitting in my room for lunch, removing yourself, it just, for me, it makes more sense. And I like to use that time towards my coaching business for things that I like to do and things that are positive and uplifting, rather than all that negative energy in the teacher's workroom. After school, I have 30 minutes before I'm allowed to leave from work. So I use that time for coaching stuff because I am literally drained by the end of the day on teaching stuff. I can't even focus on it anymore. So before I leave for the day, um, I like to do a little bit of coaching stuff. So that would be I start sending some invites. I will plan some content if I haven't posted for the day. I can think of something that I want to post or actually post something during that time. Planning my next day. What is that day going to look like? When am I going to have time to work tomorrow? And I like to make a list for the next day. So if I know that I'm not going to get to something today, like follow ups, I'll make a list on a sticky note. I love sticky notes, and I'll make a list and just say like things to do tomorrow, and it's like follow up. Or I'll write somebody's name down on that sticky note if I know I need to check back in with them tomorrow. Um, Power hour. So when I get home from work, I now I feed Braylon, my daughter, and then my husband takes over and watches her for 1 hour. And I come in here in my office and I literally work for 1 hour from 4:30 to 5:30. And I highly recommend that you get a power hour in sometime throughout the day. It is uninterrupted time and it is your time to focus. And that is when I do the bulk of my business stuff. So invites, follow-ups, and that's when I'm having conversations. I'm voice messaging people back during that time. I'm sending out information. I'm following up because I have a list on my computer of people to follow up with. So my power hour is really like the bulk of everything, like the big stuff that I do throughout the day. Um, and then after that power hour is done at 5:30, I'm done with coaching for the day. I might pop in my stories now and again, like to post like what I'm having for dinner, or like recap for the day. But for the most part, I'm not answering messages or checking in with people or doing any of that stuff. That is then my family time. And that is when I spend that with them. So there are so many times throughout my day where I'm able to, squeeze in like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, a half an hour after work, and then a full power hour. You really have to take a look at your schedule and your day to find when you have those little pockets of time. We all have them, but are you using them wisely? I found the past couple months after I had my daughter, I was scrolling Instagram way more than I ever should be. And I wasn't even doing anything with it. I wasn't even liking people's things, commenting. I wasn't building connections. I just was mindlessly scrolling, seeing what everybody else in the world was doing. And that did not a single thing for my business. That was a waste of time. And there's some times where you just need that to just like relax and decompress and like not do anything. But when that's all that you're doing, that becomes a problem. Um, so really take a look at like when are you able to squeeze in those pockets of time. So a couple other things that you can look at for pockets of time, because some people's schedules are different every day. As a teacher, my schedule is the same. So I know exactly what I'm going to do, when I'm going to do it, with my pockets of time. But some people's days, you might work nights and then days and then like you might work weekends and things like that. So you really have to take a look at your specific schedule. But other ways that you can find pockets of time are waiting at doctor's offices. I've had a lot of doctor's appointments recently for all my GI issues and now being sick. And every time I go in, we all know you have to wait for the doctor and they take forever. So I will do little things during those times when I'm waiting to be called back. And then after the nurse meets with you before the doctor comes in between that, I will send some invites or um, message some people or add followers. If you get to work early, that's a good time to do a couple things as well while dinner's cooking. So if something's like on the stove and I'm like boiling something and I'm waiting for it to boil before I do the next thing, I'll just answer a quick message really quick if I have one. Like it's not a big deal because I'm in the kitchen cooking dinner. I can do that really quick. Um, when you're laying in bed at night, I'm sure we all like to lay on our phones either at night or in the morning and just scroll, but use that time when you're scrolling to initiate connections by commenting on things, liking things, going to people's Instagrams and starting to build those connections with other people. Getting an
Can
oil.
I add something right here?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I was just gonna say, this is really good, Ashley. Like, I love you breaking this down, very simplified, and it sounds so easy. Like, but you guys, we waste so much time just scrolling when we could be building our business. Period. Um, I it blows my mind how much you can get done in these little bitty pockets of time, like she's saying. The other day, I literally had an oil change appointment. I was sitting there for close to 2 hours, and I got more work done than I get done at a full day at my house all day long. And it's because I knew they're about to come and get me here in a minute, and I'm, like, working my fingers off trying to send out, like, I sent out so many invites. And I wanna tell you guys a little tip for sending invites. When you know that you do have a pocket of time, like, you know you're gonna be getting your hair done or you're going to go get an oil change and you're just sitting there doing nothing, have an invite prepared. So already have one script, one invite in the notes section of your phone. So if you're inviting to a free group or you're inviting to the challenge group, think of what you want to say, make it your wording. We're never going to give you a script because we all have our own voices, right? So think about how you want to say it, and have it in the notes section of your phone. So that might take a little bit more time actually scripting it out in your head. But once you have that, then once you have that pocket of time, all you have to do is copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, and you can send out 20 to 30 invites in literally 10 minutes, you guys. You should not be sending individualized messages when you're inviting. I never do that. Okay. Follow ups, maybe, but if you're inviting, it should be the same message to the same group of people. Okay. Whether it's your people in your stories, watching your stories, or whether it's your post, like it should be the same thing. So you can just click, 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 because inviting is how you are going to build your business. So you have to um, have a mass number. So that's just a little tip. Have that ahead of time so that when you do have that pocket of time, you can just send those out.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks for adding that and also giving me a chance to take a break and take a drink of water. Um, yeah, so I added that getting an oil change because I saw in Joy's stories that she was getting an oil change, and that's what made me think of that she was working during that time. So always finding those times where you're just sitting somewhere. If you catch yourself scrolling, stop and do something with that time. You'll Tomorrow you're going to catch yourself so many times going to scroll when you could be doing something with that time, like inviting or even just liking people's things, because then they're going to see your name start popping up in their little notifications, and then they're going to start keeping their eyes on you. So that's like my pockets of time. I did want to add, when I was taking grad classes, they were mostly like online, but we had some meeting times. Luckily, they were in my school, so I didn't have to like drive anywhere to do that. But the class didn't start till 4:30, and school was over at 3 o'clock. So for that hour and a half, I didn't want to drive home, have to like, unpack all my stuff, repack up, because by the time I did that, I would have to turn around and leave again to go back to work. So instead of going home, I would use that hour and a half before my class started to work my coaching business. And that's when I would send invites and things like that. When I was going downtown to Chicago, it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours from here, from where I live. So every weekend I was driving 2 hours each way, and I was using that time to listen to PD, to listen to other coaching team calls, to listen to the um, national wake up calls that I had missed. And I was using that driving time to be catching up on things. And then when I was at the hospital, there wasn't really much else that I could do other than hang out with my dad and be there for him and, work with all the doctors and everything. But when the doctors weren't in the room and my dad was tired and exhausted and sleeping, I was using that time for coaching. I would go out in the hallway and find an open space, and I would just sit and I would do my live videos. I would check in with people. I would send information. I would do my voice memos. I would do everything I needed to do, but at the hospital. So, I wasn't making excuses that I was gone for the weekend. So I just, put my coaching business on hold, because I was in a different location. You have to make it work for where you are. So that's just my little piece. And again, that time that I was at the hospital was my biggest boom in my business. I was signing up the most people. I had the most coaches going on. And that's because, like Joy said, like when she was sitting there at getting her oil changed, like when you only have limited time, you like want to crank it out and get it done. And so I was using that time, it was like, when is the next doctor going to come in to talk to us? So I got to get as many invites out as I can, or send out as much information as I can. So just a couple tips on that. I have some more helpful tips to kind of wrap it up here. So if you guys have questions, just put those into the chat and I'll answer those at the end. My first tip is to look at your day ahead of time, especially if you don't have a consistent work schedule. You need to know when you're going to have pockets of time, and you need to plan that out ahead of time. So the first three kind of go together. You need to work from a list. That is my biggest recommendation for you, is to work off of a list. Have a list of things that you need to get done. So for that,
I'll say one thing here.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a break.
Thank you.
Your list is your business activity tracker. If you don't know what list you need to be following, it's what every one of us, all the coaches follow. But your business activity tracker needs to be printed and you need to be following that every single day. I just went to New Leadership Conference and they talk about this all the time. Like, that tracker was not just created out of a whim or like what they just thought would be like helpful activities. Like, they literally took the top successful coaches in the network, and they did their research with them and they polled them on, all the activities. Like, they put some research behind it, and these are the amounts of time and the actual activities that the top percent of coaches do on a daily basis to build their business forward. So if you are doing it consistently, you're guaranteed to grow your business. So that list is exactly what you need to be doing every single day.
Yeah, and if you follow this, you will hit Success Club every month. If you are using this as your list, you will hit Success Club because you are doing the things. As long as you're doing them for, close to the times that they recommend, right? Like if you're only inviting for a minute, then you're not going to hit Success Club. So what I mean when I say plan out ahead of time and work from a list is you're not going to sit down and do all these things at once if you're working in pockets of time. So some of the things are stories throughout the day. You don't need to sit down and do your stories throughout the day. You just need to make sure you're doing those stories. But maybe, sorry guys, maybe in the morning you're building connections and adding new followers. That's one of these things on this list. So you need to plan that out. Is that what you're going to be doing during that time? Because if you get to that time period, like let's say you get to lunch and you don't have a plan of what you're going to be actually doing during lunch, you're going to catch yourself just scrolling on Instagram. And then you're going to find yourself, 15 minutes in and you're like, oh crap, what was I supposed to be doing? Like, I don't even know what to do. I just caught myself scrolling for 15 minutes, just relaxing from my day. So if you know exactly what you're going to do during your lunch period, then you're going to get that done. If you know exactly what to do while you're drinking your Energize before your workout, you're going to get that done. But if you don't have a plan and you don't know what you're going to work on during that time, and you're just going to say, oh, I'll just, do some coaching things during that time, you're going to end up wasting that time. It's going to go by faster than you think, and it's going to be over, and you just missed a whole pocket of time that you could have been getting some work done. No mindless scrolling. My challenge to you tomorrow is to catch every single time that you are mindlessly scrolling through social media and not doing a single thing with it. count how many times that happens. And you will get into the habit of not doing that anymore, and using that time to build connections, talk to people, start conversations, check into boot camps, all the things that we need to be doing. My next tip is to get a success partner, because if you have a success partner, you guys can push each other and check in with each other. Joy is my success partner, and we talk every single day. We send pictures of our trackers to each other. We check in with how many invites we sent out for the day. Like right now with Team Cup, we're doing that in a bigger group chat, but otherwise, like Joy and I are talking every single day about what we've done in our coaching business, what's working for us, what's not working for us. We're constantly talking. So make sure you have someone that you can have that's on your side that can be helping you and working with you. And if you don't know who to have as a success partner, you can reach out to your coach, because we probably have a really good idea of somebody else who's at the same level as you that we think would be a really good connection for you to make. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to catch yourself scrolling. You're going to waste some of your pockets of time. It's going to happen, and it's okay. But the important thing is that you catch that and you make a change. That's the only way that we're going to grow. And when you make mistakes, don't make excuses for it. Don't say, oh, well, I was just so tired during lunch today. I just wanted to just sit and relax and do nothing, because then you're going to keep making that same excuse for yourself, and you're never going to get that time in. Focus on your journey first. So make sure you're doing the things for yourself, and everything else is going to follow. Sorry. When you're getting the results yourself and you're sharing those things, you're following the meal plans, you're checking into your boot camps, you're sharing that in your stories, then all the rest is going to come. Your personal development, you need to make sure that it is a good personal development for you. If you are listening to a personal development or reading a personal development book, or not reading anything or listening to anything, first of all, you need to be. But if it's not speaking to you in the way that you need it to be, then you need to get a different book, or listen to something different. But if you are struggling with confidence, then you need to find a book that is geared towards building your confidence. If you are focused really hardcore on leading your team and finding business builders and growing your team, and that's what you're really into, you need to find a book that speaks to that. If you have zero inspiration, you don't even know what to talk about on your page, you're really stuck, then you need to find a book with inspiration, or you need to find something that inspires you, and you need to go do that.
And I have a suggestion for you guys for a personal development book. I just purchased it and I am geeking out about it because I already love it. It's called Stories That Stick, by Kendra Hall. And especially if you are a brand new coach, I mean, this is good for anybody. Like anybody who is building a business, this is an amazing book because it talks about the power of storytelling. And that is what we do as coaches, you guys. Like, we're not selling anything. We are building relationships with people through our story. And we have so much of ourselves to tell. There's so many different layers. And I've been feeling this overwhelming like sense of just like, Joy, you're not telling your story like you need to on your page. Like you're not telling those parts of yourself. Like, cause I have a lot to tell. Like I've been through a lot in my life, and there's so many different parts to my story, and I feel like I don't share it enough. So that's a goal of mine, is to get better at telling my story, because you always want to engage with the emotions of your audience. And I really like it. I like how she goes into, like, she's done a lot of research with like companies. Like her job is an actual storyteller. So she goes in and like works with companies like commercial, advertising. And it's just amazing, like the stories behind how people have grown, from changing like their marketing to, connect with stories with people. So it's really cool. And I'm like on chapter 4, and I love it so much. So that's a good starting point, especially if you're a new coach. Um, you can read it with me and we can talk about it. That'd be fun. But it's really good.
Yeah, and Audible, you guys, is a lifesaver. If you don't have Audible, and you are busy and on the go, you need to get Audible. Um, it's I don't remember how much it is a month, but your first month or your first book is free. So definitely take advantage of that. Um, and then you pay like a little bit every month, but you get like credits for books for that. And I just saw recently or heard that you can exchange books. So I think once you like read a book, you can like return it and get a different one. So that's one way to save money on that too. But again, all that stuff that you're paying for, like Audible, these books and everything, you can write all that stuff off with your taxes. So keep that in mind with coaching, you guys. Anything you purchase, you can write off on your taxes. Um, Another tip is to find people that support you. So for me, my biggest support is my husband because right now, while I'm on this team call with you guys, he is out with our daughter and he is taking care of her. And I know that it's for one, it's really hard for me to give up that time with her, especially because she's so young and I want to be out there with them, spending all this time with them. But he makes it so easy for me, and he knows that I'm doing this for our future. He knows he wants the same things for me that I want for myself. He wants me to stay home with her. He wants me to work so that I work hard now so that I don't have to go back to work next year, and that I can do coaching full time. So he supports me in the goals that I have for myself because they're not goals for me, they're goals for our family. Um, and you need to find people like that. If it's not your spouse or your husband and they don't believe in you right now, that's okay. It's normal because this is different what we do. But you need to find people that are on your side, whether that's your success partner, your coaching family, this whole community that we have. Your sister, your mom, anybody that supports you, you need to find those people and you need to keep them close and you need to talk to them every single day because they're the people that are going to build you up and they're the people that are going to help you push harder in your business. And your coach, for one, is definitely one of those people. We are on your side. We are rooting for you. We want this for you because we know how amazing it is. And that's why we're here to push you. And lastly, you just need to do the things, you guys. I feel like every team call, we give you these things. We talk to you guys about all these things and all these tips and things you can do, but it doesn't work unless you do it, right? So you have to take these things, take a few tips from what I shared with you today and implement them tomorrow. One of the things I said to do was to, count how many times you are mindlessly scrolling and change that, make a change on that. If you're not using the business activity tracker, you need to print this out and you need to start using that. That is one thing that you need to do, okay? So just doing the things is going to get you there. But remember that if you start doing the things today, you're not going to see it tomorrow, okay? It's going to take time. You have to do these things consistently over time. I know some of my coaches were talking to me about they've been hearing a lot of no's and people are saying that they don't want to or they just don't respond at all. And you guys, we hear no's all the time. I go days and weeks with hearing no's. Okay, not a single person will say yes, and that can get discouraging for sure, but I still show up the next day and I still message more people and I still invite more people and I still follow up with people that told me no last month. I still followed up, you guys, today with people that told me no 2 weeks ago. I asked them again today. Like, I don't care. You said no, not now. Okay, well, it's 2 weeks later. How about now? Are you ready now? Can I send you information now? Because you never know when they're going to be ready. Don't stop doing the things just because someone says no. You have to keep showing up. And that's how it's going to be this big snowball effect, you guys. I promise you, if you commit every single day to doing the things on this business activity tracker and you use your time wisely for 1 month, next month is going to be your rock star month. You are going to be like hitting Success Club 20 because you put in all the hard work now. Okay, the hard work in this business doesn't pay off tomorrow. It pays off next month and the month after that and the month after that. So those are some of my tips. Hopefully you guys found something you can take away from this and you can kind of think about your schedule with, where your work schedule is at and how busy you guys are, and you're starting to think about, oh, I have this time in the morning, I could be doing that too, or I have this time before I leave work, that's when I could be, checking in with my boot camps or sharing recipes or, sending information or checking in with my coaches or, whatever it is that you're thinking of. But hopefully that started to get some things turning in your guys' head. I'm going to check the chat to see if there's any questions. I haven't been looking at it. Let's see. Yeah, Jessica, it's hard when you have a non-consistent schedule. I don't get it because I don't have an inconsistent schedule, but I understand that that can be hard. So really planning your day the day before, like, okay, I know that I have, these showings today, or I'm going to be working in my office today for these hours, and then I have to leave at this time to go meet with somebody to show them a house or whatever it is. Think like, okay, I will have 10 minutes in between that time. Or maybe I'll get to the house early to show someone. I'm going to sit in my car and I'm going to message people. So really thinking about your day ahead of time will help with that for sure.
So good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll answer Ashley's question.
Okay.
Yes, you follow back up unless they tell you to leave them alone, and I've never gotten that. I've followed up with people like up to 16, 17 times, and they've signed up with me. I'm just like Ashley. I consistently follow up all the time. Because here's the way I think about it, and we're running out of time, so I'll try to make this short. We are an afterthought to people, okay? They are busy people just like we are. And how many times do you see like a message and somebody like text messages you or whatever, and it's in your head, it's a thought, but you don't get back to them because you're so busy. Like you're just running around doing stuff. Like you can't take something personal. Like if they don't answer you back, you can't think, oh, I must be annoying to them, or oh, like I'm getting on their nerves, or more than likely they just forgot. And a lot of times that's what people will say, like, oh, I meant to, like, I just got like 5 messages today. They're like, oh, I meant to message you and I got distracted. So that's why following up is so important. You definitely have to do that.
Yeah, and
And
I will message people, and literally if you look at some of these message threads I have, it's only me inviting them.
yeah,
And it's
me
like,
too,
and
all
I'm
the time.
like, hey girl, you didn't get back to me last time. Checking in again. Would you like some info on my boot camp? And then the next month it's like, hey, still haven't heard from you. I'd love to hear back from you. Would you like some info? Like, you just keep doing it over and over and over again. And some of those people will say yes.
Yep.
Just never